Okay, guys, we are back, and I'm gonna start off by apologizing to you because every single day I come on and make a video and say, I'm gonna be doing the Fab Fatties podcast react tomorrow, and it never comes. And it never comes because so many things keep happening, okay? The more I take into this like sleuthing series on the Fab Fatties, the more this keeps bubbling up to the surface, the more is being revealed behind the scenes. And today, I don't know if you guys saw, but I woke up this morning and I get this message from Alex. Alex messages me every day, sometimes about Fat Acceptance content, sometimes random Taylor Swift lyrics, most of the time just random crap because we're friends before everything else. But I was very confused when I saw this picture. And then I looked closer at the top and realized it was Allie from the Fab Fatties, or most recently from the Fab Fatties, upset that Alex and I made videos about her and that she quit. So yeah, now I'm gonna talk about this for a second. And you can see I'm doing this on the fly because like my hair is still wet. I'm definitely recording the podcast videos come hell or high water right after this. I'm gonna blow dry my hair after I'm done making this video, just so you know, okay, while I'm pulling this up. So she has my video on top of Alex's video. And first of all, Alex and I were looking at this and like, did she Photoshop this? Or did this just come up on her YouTube feed and she's scrolling? Alex and I make this joke all the time that we believe that the fat acceptance people are subscribed to us, or like the fat fatties might be subscribed to us. And we're not kind of wondering, like, is she? Is she subscribed to us? Like, Allie, if you're there. Hey, Allie, it's me, Lisa. I feel like that sometimes. I think it's so interesting. She quotes Alex in his video saying, a win is a win. I hope I am part of why you quit. Like, you have to understand, Alex is an activist. And so he is actively trying to destroy fat acceptance. Now, I would consider myself more of an ally to his cause. Okay. I'm not making my entire life, my career, my life goal around fat acceptance. Everything that I'm doing in my life is more about weight loss and raising awareness about weight loss and how it's possible and refuting the fat acceptance narrative in order to help you lose weight as well. This is how I'm doing it. You can follow how I'm doing it. I make update vlogs. I put a lot of information into what I'm doing these videos so that you can get a sense of like what I'm doing, but also have some information at the same time. So the reason by information, I mean like when we do these reactions, it's not just to like sit here and point and make fun of these people, although it's very easy to do if that's what you want to do when they're spouting this fat acceptance nonsense. Because this is a pretty, I don't want to say a powerful movement, but I would definitely say a very, this movement has a stronghold in some ways when it comes to people who are overweight, obese, etc. And it's extremely demoralizing. And I believe that they are actively doing harm to people who are trying to lose weight, who want to get a handle on their health, because when you're trying to look up ways to help yourself, especially if you have any sort of quote behavior being a toxic ritualistic pattern that causes you to overeat or undereat. When those people want to get help, they go to these facilities and they can't get help. They can't get help from behavior clinics because of how ingrained fat acceptance is into the mental health setting. I know I'm kind of rambling here, but I'm trying to explain myself about like what my position is in all of this. Alex is an activist. He's actively trying to dismantle. I'm providing supporting evidence to his cause. That's how I would phrase it. He's losing weight from a behavior point of view, and I'm losing weight from a medical point of view, as in I had a lot of medical problems that caused me to gain a lot of weight. He had a behavior problem that caused him to gain a lot of weight. We're doing it in a very similar way. However, because we're dealing with different, I would say, challenges, it kind of just goes to show that you can do this despite your challenge or whatever challenge you might face. So yeah, now that it's established, let's talk about this post some more. Something that she said at the bottom was, two people on the internet who screamed that I need a hobby instead of a fat positive podcast. Have a hobby of watching fat girls on the internet and talking shit about them. Cool, thumbs up. Now, I think Alex is the one who said that she needed a hobby. I don't think I've ever said that, but if I have, please let me know in what video. It'd be kind of funny if I did, because I don't remember saying that. What I have said is I think they need to get help, or they need to stop living in their delusion. But that's basically the extent of it. They need to stop lying to people, not so much as getting a hobby. Although I think it is funny that she says I scream, because I don't really raise my voice as much. But I also think it's funny from a point of, girl, I'm also fat. I'm really fat. I'm still in the mid 200s. Okay. I'm still in the mid, heading towards the low 200s. I mean, not that low, but you know what I mean? I'm on like the better half of the mid 200s. I started off firmly in the mid 300s 3 years ago. Here's the thing. I've lost 100 pounds. It's just not showing because I'm like extremely bloated, and that water weight's gonna come up eventually. It's really frustrating. I was having this conversation with Alex earlier too. Sorry, tangent. Where he's just like, well, then you can make your announcement about getting out of super morbid obesity. And I was like, I don't really feel like I can make an announcement because my body fat percentage is low enough that yeah, technically I'm not super morbidly obese anymore, but my weight is still higher. I mean, just all that means is that my muscle composition is higher than my fat, which is good. It still counts because body fat percentage at the end of the day is actually more important than the BMI. The BMI is typically a very good representation for most people about where their body composition is. So, for example, to be under super morbid obesity, you need to be under 45 BMI, right? But for body fat percentage for women, not men, for women, you also need to be under 45% body fat. And so that's where I'm at. I mean, just barely, but I am. And so technically, yeah, not super morbidly obese, but weight wise still up there. And that's because of all the water weight I'm carrying plus muscle composition, because I do work out a lot and I do weightlifting. Now that's just the gray area, but it does make it kind of weird to like, I'm like, oh, I don't really want to celebrate it because it's like the weight is still there technically. And the weight does still cause issues despite it not actually being fat. But once again, as I said, I'm still fat. I'm still fat. I'm morbidly obese. Okay. Morbid means death. Trying to get out of that, trying to stick to regular obese. Okay. We're hoping by the end of the summer, which is September 20th, 21st of this year, I'm going to be out of morbid obesity and just be obese. Alex assures me it's going to come like quicker than I think that I'm in this weird, he calls it like the morbid plateau or whatever, tortured Mo, whatever, where you just don't think you're losing weight, but you really are. Whatever. Just gonna choose to believe him. I'm right in the deficit and then work it out. But yeah, once again, I am fat. So yes, I'm committing my own fat on fat crime here, right? At least according to these people. But let's talk a little bit more about why we're doing this, because I think not to call my audience out, because the overwhelming majority of you are absolutely fantastic. I have a few trolls here or there, not a big deal. I don't really care. But there are a few of you who I can tell are definitely big feelers. And that's not an insult. That just means like I can definitely see that you lead with your heart. And so when you see people, like when we watch the Fab Fatties podcast, some of you really identify with some of these women. And that's not a negative thing. It just means that you empathize very easily. I'm more of a thinker. And I'm not trying to say like, haha, I'm more intelligent to you. No. I'm just saying this is the way that we process the world. I'm a thinker. And so it's very difficult for you to tap into my emotions. I'm going to look at what you're saying first at face value, and then I'm going to look for what your real meaning is and see if what you're telling me actually matches what you're saying. And I can typically tell when you believe what you're saying and you're telling the truth. You believe what you're saying, but you're not telling the truth. You're lying to yourself. But also I can tell when you don't believe what you're saying and you're actively lying. And I've seen all three of these things occur when reacting to fat acceptance. However, when it goes back to these feelers who watch this content and they're identifying with these women, typically women, some of them are men, but mostly women, and all women on the Fab Fatties podcast, it's very easy to believe what they're saying because of the emotional reaction they have behind it. Now, what am I saying when I say this? So are those emotions real? Yes, they're probably very upset. I 100% believe that they're actually upset. Or they talk about something passionately, blah, blah, blah. But that doesn't always mean that the reason why they're upset is consistent with why they're getting upset. So a lot of people will watch them and say, well, I don't agree with what they're saying, but I can tell that they're good people, or I can tell this, blah, blah, blah. I don't know these women personally, and what they do in their personal lives might make them good people. However, when it comes to what they're presenting on the internet, we have to remember what this content represents. Fat acceptance content actively harms people. It's actively encouraging people to stay at unhealthy weights. It's actively encouraging people to gain weight in some cases, especially when it comes to behavior clinics. You have a BINGE behavior problem. You go to behavior clinic to get yourself under control. And what do they tell you? I've had many people in my comments attest to this. This is what actually happens. They say, don't reduce what you're eating. I'm not saying RESTRICT because YouTube doesn't like that word, but don't reduce what you're eating. It's always bad to put a limit on your eating because these behavior clinics have been taken over by fat acceptance, but also by people with behaviors of their own. So that's one side of the coin. It's actively harming people's mental health, but also their physical health. I know everybody keeps bringing up the Sam at Every Size deep dive that she did on debunking those studies that FA likes to bring up, right? Excellent job she did in that video. It's very cool. Go and watch it. And I think it's something that we all just kind of knew, but we're just glad that Sam put it together for us, right? So that now we have like a resource and a reference to be like, here, all the information you want to know is right here. This debunks it all, right? Instead of having to go and look through it ourselves. But we all already kind of knew that, right? We kind of knew that that statistic was BS. But the more FA pushes it, you're going to have gullible people who are going to stumble across it on TikTok, on the internet, whatever, this podcast, and they're going to believe it. They're going to get demoralized. They're going to stop trying to get healthy. And I've said many, many times on this channel that I do not believe that mental health is separate from physical health. I do think they're intrinsically linked. I know I use that phrase all the time. You're probably sick of me saying it. So that's why I think demoralization when it comes to these things is such a huge issue. If you're having somebody say, it's never going to work, that's not how it works, calories in, calories out, doesn't work, your diet's never going to work, you're creating a culture that you're trying to say is fat acceptance, or you're trying to say is fat positivity, but is resulting in the actual deaths of people. People are actually dying. Like, insert the clip from the Kardashians, right?
Kim, there's people that are dying.
It's so weird to relate to Courtney, but this is what I'm talking about. You have to keep your eye on what's actually going on, because emotions in many cases like this, when it comes to this movement of fat acceptance, are extremely manipulative. They're extremely gaslighting because, and I can't say the way, they're lying to you. And you have to remember what they're lying to you about. And it's that you will never reach a healthy weight, which they call thinness. You'll never achieve thinness. You can never achieve your health. And so we have to push back on that as much as we can. This is why I'm losing weight on the internet. I'm showing you it can be done. Alex, he's almost done, right? And I've lost a crap ton of weight, okay? And I might not be done yet, but I've lost a crap ton of weight. And it's been 3 years and it's stayed off and I'm still losing weight. And if I bought into this fat acceptance content, which I did for like 1 minute, like I swear it was like half a day I bought into it when I was like 26. And then I promptly was like, well, that's stupid. It doesn't make sense. Then I went back to like trying to lose weight again. But a lot of people do. They buy into it and they stop trying to better their bodies. They stop trying to help themselves, stop trying to get healthy. And we are setting them down a path of like literal death. So when things like this pop up, it'd be very easy for me to get like, I don't know, triggered or upset or something. I laughed. I thought it was the funniest thing in the world, that because I'm like, oh my God, does she watch me? Does she watch me? Because you have to remember, Allie also in previous videos has said things like, I'm a fat girl and your employer is tagged in your bio, right? And she's made those kinds of threats, maybe as a joke, but like at the same time, it's kind of like, what are you doing, right? Alex is self-employed. No one's going to get rid of him. But I'm just wanting to remind you guys to please keep your eye on the prize for why we're doing this. We're not doing this to, quote, talk about fat people like she claims we're doing. Remember, I'm fat. It's not that you're fat that we're talking shit about you. It's because you are promoting fat acceptance content, and we were talking shit about that fat acceptance content and you being attached to it, and how we're seeing your emotional manipulation, your gaslighting, and your lying is why we talk this shit. And just because it's shit talking doesn't mean it's untrue, right? Harsh truths sometimes come out in a little bit of talking. I'm gonna have to mute all those SHIT words out, okay? So if you're really confused about what word is being muted out, that's it, SHIT. So yeah, just to end this video, guys, once again, keep your eye on the prize. We are trying to dismantle the fat acceptance movement. Alex is the real activist. I'm just his little supportive ally, doing it in my own way. Like, if anything, my activism is more about health, and I would say my health activism revolves around improving the food supply. I say food is poison all the time. That's more my activism lane. Alex's is the dismantling of fat acceptance, although we have a lot of overlap with what we're talking about, because obviously I do a lot of fat acceptance stuff here too. And that's because, as you saw in like my medical reaction videos, there's so much that I can cover from the medical side when they're talking about it from this fat acceptance point of view. And then sometimes we have a little bit of fun by looking into some other topics that they talk about, etc. None of this means anything though if I don't continue to lose weight. So that's why I'm going to continue documenting my weight loss journey on here, keeping up with you, and I hope you got as good of a laugh out of this post as I did. It is a win, okay? Now, it's a win from the point of view of it's a clear dismantling of a pillar of fat acceptance. That's the best way I would put it. Now, where is it a loss? We have to remember this is also still a person. Despite her being wrong, despite her having all these issues, living in delusion, promoting really toxic ideology that actively harms people, she's still a person, and I do hope she gets help. I do hope she gets mental help, emotional help, physical help, obviously. I don't wish for her to have a terrible life. I don't wish for her to lose her life, right? I don't wish those things. I want her to have a long and healthy life. That would be the best case scenario. But this pillar still had to be dismantled. Alex made a joke that he made that joke there that he really did hope that he had something to do with it. Hope it's something to do with her quitting. He he does wonder if our videos together making at the same time has something to do with it. Maybe the podcast will return, maybe it won't. All I know that this week has been kind of a very interesting victory, right? It's an interesting victory, and we're going to keep on fighting. We're going to keep on pushing on this topic until, I guess, all fat acceptance is completely dismantled, until the culture no longer exists. Now, is that to say that we're trying to eliminate all fat people? No, I'm fat. Maybe from a health point of view, we want you all to live long and healthy lives. It would be nice if every single person in the world was healthy. Okay, so with that, guys, I'm gonna leave it there. Let me know your thoughts down below. Did anything I say make sense? I'm doing this off the cuff, and I hate doing off the cuff stuff, but I'm trying to do it more and more and more just because I'm working on my speaking skills. I love to talk. I speak all the time, but speaking off the cuff is really hard for me. Unless I'm in a dialogue. In a dialogue is so much easier, but monologuing to myself on the computer, very difficult. Definitely doing speech practice here. Let me know your thoughts down below. Will there be a follow-up post? Will she keep coming for us? Will we learn more reasons? Are Alex and I the reason she quit? That would be very interesting. I don't even know. Well, guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye.